Cool, just made this a million times harder. Insist. Fuck, my God. I'm so fucking sick of this. What a stupid way for that to die. Nope. Okay. Fuck off, are you serious? To go for this extended hit window execution, I think. This. Fuck my life. Never miss on that. don't even know if this is possible. If it is, it's super close. Wait and see. I almost fucked up though. Wow, holy shit! That many ticks. I was so confused there at the end because I assumed there was no way that I got that many over, so I assumed I must have dropped a shit ton somewhere, though I'm not sure where that would have happened. Holy shit. Well, there it is. Oh my god, this run was so stupid. I just realized this was the run that I red flamed the first act front end. And I got this with the second nearly ideal and third upper bound. What the fuck? I have to see if I don't think I got any ticks on that last act, but this is 100 higher in ticks than my last record of this. That just seems... I mean, like, I did a couple tricks there at the end, mainly to preserve them. And my, especially my fourth acts were a lot better going for 319 here than they've ever been due to the whammy. But still, like, I kept track of my ticks going into the outro, or post-act 5, and they weren't great. They were like minus 30 from my best. Yeah, I didn't even have 0.9 at the break, which is like what I was looking... I mean, I was only one tick shy, but that's pretty much what I was looking for to have any confidence of getting over the 1,000 mark. One frame shy of ticks on the last act. And I think I started to say near the end of the run that I almost screwed up. There's that final orange hopo that goes into the yellow-orange strum, and I just was freaking out there because I haven't played that outro literally since the last time I played this song over a year ago, and I almost just didn't strum the chord. I either almost didn't strum the chord or almost strummed the orange hopo too early, which would have made me miss. It's funny because I can't actually remember how I almost screwed up, but I know I almost screwed up there. So yeah, wild run to get 319k. Wild to get 319k in general. It's funny, I took a look back at my old Jessica record on Xbox after finally getting 346k on PS2. And in the description to that, I wrote that 346k on there is probably more feasible than 319k on this song. And clearly I do not agree with that at this point, but it is a reasonable assumption to make because these remaining squeezes are pretty insane. I still have actually yet to hit the last act nearly ideal, but I've gotten within one frame of it, and I'm almost positive the only reason for that is because it's at the end of the song, and I just did not give it many attempts. But yeah, those second and third acts are insane. I've hit the third act the least. I'm honestly not sure whether it's at least executionally more difficult than the second act, but from my TAS data, timing-wise, it is stricter. And just like the last act, it being later in the song, I just got less attempts to it. But yeah, thankfully this is a situation, especially thankful after Jessica, that this didn't require total optimization. I mean, as you can see here, this run was just stupid, how I ended up getting this. But I don't feel bad about it because essentially how I was going about this was if I hit the amount of squeezes that I needed for 319k, I was just playing the others safe. Usually that was the first and second acts. The first act is by far the easiest out of any of the nearly ideal acts, and it's at the beginning of the song. So including that, going for 319 was a no-brainer, but I clearly don't have a brain, so that's how this turned out how it did. But yeah, it was usually getting the first and second nearly ideal acts, and then playing the fifth act, quote unquote, safe, because the non-upper bound fifth act is not really a big deal. I think I referred to the third act before. I said the second and third acts are insane. I obviously meant the second and fifth. Third and fourth are just ticking acts. Annoying in their own rights, but nothing compared to the actual squeezes. And yeah, the last act was just a Hail Mary, pretty much. Because again, I still have yet to hit it, and the whammy for it, specifically that second phrase, is just really awful. I initially booted this up on PS2 because I was just very locked into the PS2 display from all the Jessica playtime, which what I mean by that is Xbox has a larger screen display, so the overscan on the CRT eats into more of the data, and essentially it places the strike line closer to the bottom of the CRT, which in effect slightly alters my timing. I play generally a little bit later on Xbox, but there was a mechanical reason I also booted this up on PS2, which is that I assumed the way to go about getting this, if it were possible, would be on the last act nearly ideal. Despite it being the only squeeze that I haven't hit, it had pretty substantially, I think, the biggest frame data from TAS, but it did include a buffered whammy on both phrases, whereas the second act only included one. So that frame data was slightly inflated because I just wasn't able to abuse that in a practical sense on a run. I did get it to function on the first phrase, but I wasn't risking a potential 319k run to it because 90% of the time I tried it, it failed. But yeah, that was the initial route, was the first nearly ideal and last nearly ideal with just solid ticks. And it's hilarious that the run I ended up getting this, I got neither. So I'm positive that getting to the next 100 mark in ticks is possible. As you can see, I'm not using extended hit window on Act 4, which ends in a triple chord, because that execution is just incredibly stupid. At most, I would be able to abuse like one frame there, and it's just not worth throwing runs away to that. So yeah, I'm pretty positive at least 319.5 is possible here. The first act upper bound was kind of weird. In TAS, it was possible, but that also used buffered first frame whammy on all three of the initial chords, the blue-orange, yellow-blue, and yellow-orange. And even then, it was a 3-frame window, which, taking it at its face that 1 frame of whammy is worth 1 frame of star power, that would make the act impossible. I'm pretty sure the act is possible even without buffered whammy, which is like completely impractical, in my opinion, to use with any, at the very least, consistency. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the upper bound is also possible. But obviously trying to go for that over any of the other remaining squeezes made no sense. So more than likely at least 319.7k is possible. But I'm pretty sure the second act upper bound is not possible. Given the nearly ideal ticks are like 388, which would be like plus 140 from here, I can't rule out that 319.8 is possible, but I don't know. That seems pretty ambitious. But again, really glad and surprised to find 319k on this. I mean, this is not something that I really even had a long-term goal for, given how hard the remaining squeezes were. But I've just gotten a lot better at whammy and a lot more hard-headed, so as far as I'm going with this, most likely.